We all know and love it. GTA Vice City. Even today, I and many others are still enthusiastic about this game, which is now almost 24 years old. This game introduced me to the world of video games when I was a young boy and has left a lasting impression on me to this day. Neon lights, Vice City as a reflection of sunny Miami, Florida, Tommy Vercetti as the cool, ruthless protagonist who tries to establish himself at the top of Vice City. But have you ever asked yourself whether GTA Vice City is liminal? No? Well, then today is the day. First of all, what are liminal spaces and when do we describe a game as liminal? Liminal spaces are places or moments that exist in between states, like hallways, stairwells, or empty buildings. They are meant for transition, not staying, which is why they can feel eerie or nostalgic when empty. More broadly, liminal also describes phases of change, where you are between what was and what's next. So, is GTA Vice City liminal? Short answer, absolutely. Right at the start of the game, we spawn very close to a very liminal space, namely the alleys in Vice City, or more precisely in Ocean Beach and Washington Beach. Unlike other alleys in the GTA series, they share a strange trait. They are abandoned and dark, which is further reinforced when having bad weather, of course. The areas are very sharply separated and appear very uncanny, empty and uninviting. The abandoned basketball hoop adds to the eerie atmosphere. The numerous myths surrounding the alleys in Washington and Ocean Beach are also not very helpful. Well-known myths include the Chainsaw Killer, Dracula, Constantino Smith, a vampire, ghostly entities and, of course, Pixie. However, this would be going too fast, so I just thought I would name them for you. When we think of Vice City, we automatically think of sun, beach and the sea. But when you're actually at the huge Washington Beach, you don't necessarily feel relaxed, especially at night. The endless expanses of sand, surrounded by nothing but a wooden hut every few hundred meters, create a feeling of eeriness and liminality. The smiley face on the beach hut also gives me backroom vibes more than anything else, but I don't know, what do you think? While I have heard from many that the second island, which is unlocked during the course of the game, is particularly liminal, I have to say that I found many examples of this on the first island. The first island manages like no other to make places that are actually lively seem very lonely and deserted. Empty pools, enclosed seating areas, and cold, tiled surfaces do the rest. Certainly one of the best examples of a liminal space in GTA Vice City is the North Point Mall. The mall is located in Vice Point and is a two-story mall with an H-shaped floor plan featuring a large atrium area bisected by a central pedestrian bridge, escalators and a large number of businesses primarily based on the edges of the floor space. Whether it's the strange-looking back room at the Tarbrush Cafe or the seemingly endless shopping center, one thing is clear. This building just screams liminal space. The food court in particular, with its seating and checkered tile floors. It reminds me of something straight out of a Backrooms game, to be honest. The reflective floor and pitch-black ceiling also make me feel uneasy, to say the least. But what tops it all, in my opinion, is the music. I can't really describe the feeling, but the music in the North Point Mall perfectly rounds off this liminal space, in my opinion. But even seemingly inconspicuous places that don't appear in the story at all seem very liminal when you take a closer look. And it doesn't matter whether the sun is shining or it's stormy in Vice City. In both cases, the places you see cause discomfort and sometimes just seem out of place. Why are there semi-open showers and convoluted, sometimes completely enclosed areas in a residential complex? And if you think that North Point Mall is the only mall in Vice City that gives off a slightly liminal vibe, think again. The Washington Mall in Ocean Beach also has some very interesting corners that give you the feeling of a liminal space. The Washington Mall is a lush open-air mall with 2 levels of shopping areas and has working escalators, 2 inactive lifts and a rooftop car park accessible by a spiral ramp on the northeastern corner of the mall. Here again, abandoned seating areas, random ponds with water lilies, cordoned off staircases, and the staircases themselves also appear very liminal if you just take a look at them, as if one were not so welcome. However, liminal spaces can also occur in very large, rather busy places. Let's take, for example, the oversized Vice Surf advertisement in the middle of a huge meadow near the airport. It seems more out of place and strange than harmoniously embedded in the world, if you ask me. Little Havana, Café Robina to be precise, is also a very good place, in my opinion, to observe this phenomenon. I remember not wanting to go in there as a child. I couldn't explain it at the time, but I felt a strange unease. Today I can explain it a little better. Apart from the side streets behind the cafe, the interior is particularly strange and sometimes eerie. By Vice City standards, the cafe has a lot of open doors and areas that appear very empty but which cannot be explored further. What is hidden behind them? Why does everything seem so dark and mysterious? It all seems so cramped and small, but you still wonder what is hidden behind it. The rear area of the cafe also creates a feeling of unease with its long corridor and increasingly dim lighting. Well, the office buildings in downtown Vice City, I don't think I need to say much about those, right? They could really be straight out of a Backrooms game if you ask me. They feel familiar and yet they don't feel very appropriate, especially for a GTA game. Now we come to one of my favorite places in whole Vice City, simply because it couldn't be more out of place and strange. Downtown Beach. The beach is located on the west side of downtown, close to the Hyman Memorial Stadium. The beach is much smaller than the beach in the east of the city, and no pedestrians or vehicles spawn here. The beach plays no role in the storyline whatsoever. In the midst of the bustling downtown area of Vice City, where skyscraper meets skyscraper, there is now this small stretch of beach where not a soul sets foot. I don't know, it just doesn't look very inviting if you ask me. The Prawn Island alleyway also immediately came to mind when I was gathering ideas for this video. The Prawn Island alleyway is a substitute location in Prawn Island that incorporates several myth locations, including the rear of the abandoned park, the only entrance to the Milligan Hotel, the abandoned Spanish cafe, and a major area of the abandoned private property. Especially at night, this place exudes an eerie atmosphere and you rarely see a car driving by here. I mean, why would you? There's hardly any reason to drive through here. The myth about Jeff the Killer and ghostly entities in the abandoned buildings around Prawn Island also contributes to the eerie factor here. The maze in the Vercetti estate, or Diaz Mansion, could also be straight out of an Escape the Backrooms game. A convoluted, narrow maze in the middle of a huge villa complex. Definitely liminal. The very shallow pools in the semi-open area of the mansion also fit into this vibe, if you ask me. So what remains to be said in conclusion? Is GTA Vice City liminal? Yes and no. Of course the vibrant neon-lit 80s vibe remains at the forefront, but there's no denying that the game has its strange, creepy and sometimes liminal spaces. And trust me, I haven't even mentioned all the ones that came to my mind during my research. Honorable mentions would include the abandoned bungalows in the southern ocean of Vice City close to Ocean Beach, the basement and back alleys in Little Haiti, the Malibu Club when empty, the Washington Avenue parking lot, the Ocean View Hotel, the Leaf Links Golf Club, the Interglobal Film Studios, and many more. But what do you think? Do you have any other examples of liminal spaces in GTA Vice City? Let me know in the comment section below. I would also really appreciate a like on this video. I plan to make more GTA Vice City videos in the future, so if you have any video ideas, please let me know. Have a nice day and see you soon.